Hey guys, welcome back to Do Better Tomorrow. This is Ishak. Hope you are all staying home, staying safe, and preparing very well for the upcoming exams. We are here with a new video on helping verbs, and this is a part 4 of the helping verbs. And in this video, we'll be discussing memory based questions asked on helping verbs, especially on have form of verbs in various exams like SBI, RBI, SSC, and IBPS exams. Not only these, many competitive exams are asked, questions are asked on these helping verbs. So basic level is very important, and part 3 we have discussed about the basics of have forms, and this is part 4 in which we'll be discussing more about have forms and we'll be seeing memory based questions, which means questions asked on this particular topic have forms in real time exam. So let's go into our presentation. So basically this is a part 3 continuation of part 3, and part 3 and 4 of helping verbs deal with have forms of verb. So what we have seen in the previous lecture is basically have forms of verbs to be used as main verbs and helping verbs. We have seen this. Then helping verbs. So have forms as main verbs we have seen. Then have form helping verbs. How to use in perfect tense both in active voice and passive voice we have seen. And important observations like past participle form of verb, which is V3 after all have forms, which means after has, have, or had we use past participle form of the verb. And different have forms like has, have, or had to be used, which means which form of have form, whether has or have or had, should be used after each noun and each pronoun. That is what we have seen in the previous video. So please do watch that video, as this is a continuation of that particular video, and you'll find the link in the description. Go just watch that video and come back to this video if you haven't watched that video. And in this lecture, without any delay, we'll just discuss what we'll be going to see in this video. The agenda of this lecture is we'll see how to write the questions in perfect tense, how to write negation in perfect tense, and exercise on questions, negatives, and negative questions. So all this particularly in perfect tense, using the have forms, how to write the questions and how to write the negation and negative questions, all these in perfect tense. Also we'll be seeing some question tags on perfect tense, so these are also very important in various competitive exams. And then when you see have forms plus had, there will be a slight confusion among students when they see two have forms, two helping verbs together, like has had, have had, or had had. So when they see such kind of words together, they get confused. So after seeing this video, that confusion will be cleared. So at the end of this video, which means after discussing all these topics, we will see memory based questions like error reduction questions or sentence improvements questions, which were asked on have form of verbs. So we'll go into our first thing, that is questions in perfect tense. So to write negation of any statement or to write a question form of a sentence, we require helping verbs. If you have been following our channel, in our part 1 and part 2 of helping verbs, we already discussed this while discussing the do forms of verbs. To write any negation or to write a question form, we require helping verbs. Be it any tense, we require helping verbs. So what we said in part 1 and part 2 is, in simple present tense and simple past tense we don't have helping verbs, so there we introduced some do forms called do, does, and did. So here in perfect tense we are discussing about perfect tense. So in perfect tense we already have helping verbs which are have forms. So that is what is this slide says. In perfect tense those helping verbs are have forms. So to write the negation and the question forms, we are going to make use of this have forms, and we'll try to write the negative statements and the question forms of the sentences. So those helping verbs are, what are those helping verbs? In present perfect tense, has or have, depending on the subject. If it is a singular subject, it is has. If it is a plural subject and first person singular, second person, we use have. If it is past perfect, for both singular and plural we use had, and future perfect tense will have. So all these are our helping verbs which we are going to use to write the negative sentences and also the question form of the sentences in perfect tenses, whichever the perfect tense it is. So we'll see how to write a questions in perfect tense. So what we are saying here is, to make the question form of most main verbs, we use helping verbs followed by the subject. Very important thing. So we came to know that we need some helping verbs, and those helping verbs in perfect tense are have forms. So after knowing that, what we need to know is helping verb should be followed by the subject. So what is this sentence saying is, the helping verb should be used before the subject, and then the subject, then our main verb should be used. Basically what we use is subject, then verb, then object. In verb, what we use is helping verbs and the main verbs. But while writing a question form, what we are doing is the helping verbs which tells us the tense, we are writing before the subject, right? Then we are writing the subject, then only we are writing the main verb. And if you observe, very important thing, v3 form is always used with the perfect tense helping verbs which are have. So in the previous video also we have said that after have forms we use the main verb in past participle form. Just here what we are doing is that helping verb we are bringing in front of the subject. So has or have or had, then subject, then main verb. Hope you are clear till here. Then just observe, we have kept here has or have or had. Then how to pick one of these is depending on this subject. If the subject is singular, we use has. If the subject is plural, we use have. If the subject first person or second person also, we use have. And in past tense, for both singular and plural subjects, we use had. In present tense, we use this. Hope you are clear till here. We'll go to the next slide and we'll see some examples. So you can see an example here. First example is, you have eaten the apple. So now first of all check whether the given statement is correct or not, because you have already learned how to write a sentence in perfect tense. So first of all, the subject is you, which is second person, and second person always takes a plural verb, so have is absolutely correct, and have forms always takes v3 form of verb, so eaten is also correct. The apple is the object here, so you have eaten the apple is absolutely correct. So now try to write the question form of this. So what we usually do is, the have form helping verb should be coming before the subject. So have you eaten, very important, v3 form of verb. So have you eaten the apple, question mark is also important, and this is the correct one. So now the second example what we are going to see. So he has been taking all the precautionary measures. So first of all check whether the given statement is correct or not. So he is a subject and that is a singular one, so has is a singular verb, that is correct, and has always takes v3 and been is v3, so that is correct. He has been taking all the precautionary measures, which means he is telling in present perfect continuous. He started taking precautions somewhere in past and he has been taking till now, so he is taking all those precautionary measures. What that is what it tells us. So now try to write the question form of this particular sentence. So simply bring this helping verb in front of the subject. So has he been taking all the precautionary measures, question mark, and that is correct. So till here there should not be any doubt. Simply what we are doing, after knowing how to write the perfect tense examples, we are doing like we are bringing that helping verb in front of the subject. Simply has or have in front of that subject. Has he been taking? So hope it is very clear. If it is not, pause the video, go back and again you can listen it. So we'll go to the next point. So next example says, I will have eaten the citrus fruits. So I will have. So now there are two helping verbs, which is one tells a future will and perfect tense have. So now which helping verb should I bring in front of the subject? So there will be some confusion in future tense, and that confusion will be cleared in the next slide. Let's go to the next slide. So I will have eaten the citrus fruit. This is what we have said. Okay. So now you should know that in future tense, the auxiliary verb or modal auxiliary verb which tells us the future tense will be coming before the subject I. So will I have eaten the citrus fruit? So are you clear about this? So this have will not come before the subject, only will be coming in front of the subject. Will I have eaten the citrus fruits? Hope it is clear. So if you have any doubt, see the next example also, you will be very clear. I will have been eating good food. Then that helping verb which is telling us the future tense will be used before the subject. So will I have been eating good food? That is correct usage. And here see, while pronouncing, this is not food, pronounce it as food. Okay, it's a long vowel there, so you should pronounce it as food. Hope it is very clear till here. Let's go into the next slide and we'll discuss how to write the negative statements in perfect tense. So till here what we have seen is how to write the question forms in perfect tense, and here we are seeing how to write the negative sentences in perfect tense. So simply what you can do is, after writing the basic structure in perfect tense, simply place not after the helping verb. That's it. That's enough. So what here we have mentioned is the negative of all the perfect tenses are made with auxiliary have plus not. So simply not after those helping verbs, which is shortened to haven't, so which means have not, or hasn't, which means has not, and hadn't, which is had plus not. So simply has or have or had. After that, simply you can place that not before the main verb. You are very clear, I think. And then next point what we have mentioned here is, we use the short forms in everyday informal language and the full forms like have not in more formal situations. Haven't we mostly use in informal language, and have not we use mostly in formal situations. Hope you are clear. The whole point here is simply place not after those helping verbs has or have or had. Depending on the subject, we use has, have and had. You already know that. So the examples for that writing negation is, you have eaten the apple. Simply place that not and we say you have not eaten the apple, and you can also say you haven't eaten the apple. So he has been taking all the precautionary measures and he has not been taking all the precautionary measures. So hope you are clear till here. Simply we are placing not after that helping verb has or have. Okay, it is clear, right? And then we'll see some examples saying that you have eaten the apple, and we'll try to write all the three. First one is trying to write like a negation, a question form, and negative question. Like you have eaten the apple, and for that the negative is you have not eaten the apple, and the question form simply that have has been placed in front of the subject, have you eaten the apple, and writing the negation, haven't you eaten the apple. Hope it is very clear. If it is not, again I'll repeat it. See, you have taken a affirmative sentence which is a positive statement, you have eaten an apple. Okay, fine. For this we are trying to write a negative statement. What we have said is, to write a negative sentence, simply place not after the helping verb and before the main verb. So you have not eaten the apple. Hope you are clear. So trying to write a question, what we do is the helping verb should be placed before the subject. So have you eaten the apple? So again trying to write the negative question, what we do is have not. So haven't you eaten the apple? Very simple. Hope you are very clear with this. We'll go to the next slide, and here you guys have to do the exercise. So these are some questions, and try to write all the other things like a negative and also a question and like a negative question. So what we say is the affirmative sentence is already given, which is a positive sentence. You guys have to write a negative sentence and interrogative and negative interrogation you'll have to write. So pause the video, try to write all the different sentences, and after playing the video you can check all the answers for these. So the sentences what we have used is you have completed the work. This is the first sentence. For this you will have to write a negative statement, interrogative statement and negative interrogation. Similarly, he has gone to the movie and Shakti has cracked it very easily. Priscilla has done it very well. So for these four affirmative sentences, you guys need to write a negative, interrogative and negative interrogation. Pause the video, try to do this exercise. Hope it is done, and let's check what's the correct things. So for you have completed the work, it is you have not completed the work is a negative, simply placing that not. Then for interrogative, have has been used before that, have you completed the work with question mark. So haven't you completed the work? Clear? Then the next thing, he has gone to the movie, he hasn't gone to the movie, and has he gone to the movie, and hasn't he gone to the movie? Hope you have written everything correct. Let's check two more things. Shakti has cracked it very easily. So for that, a negative thing is Shakti hasn't cracked it very easily. Has Shakti cracked it very easily? Hasn't Shakti completed it or cracked it? Sorry, it should be cracked it. So cracked it easily. So one thing you'll have to observe is you is used so that have should be used. With second person we use have. He, a singular subject, is used so that we used has, a singular verb. Shakti, being it a singular subject, we used has. So this thing also you'll have to observe, like subject verb agreement, what we say with singular subjects and with plural subjects, what we have already seen in the previous video. So along with seeing the negative interrogative and negative interrogation, what we have learned earlier, you should not just leave that. Okay, let's see the last one also. So Priscilla has done it very well. So what we need to write for negative is Priscilla hasn't done it very well, and has Priscilla done it very well, hasn't Priscilla done it very well. So hope you have written all the answers correctly. So let's move to the next slide. So the question tags in perfect tense, very important thing, and these are the easiest marks what we can get in a few competitive exams. This is a very important thing and very easy one. So basically what are question tags are? A question tag is a short question at the end of the statement. So after the statement again a short question will be there. So that is what is a question tag. So question tags are used when asked for agreement or confirmation. Then one more thing what you can see here is a positive statement has a negative question tag and a negative statement has a positive question tag. Simple thing, that's it. So let's see some more thing. So he has gone to the movie. So what kind of sentence this is a positive statement, right? So this is a positive statement. So the question tag should be a negative one. So what we have written is hasn't he. So same helping verb we are trying to use here. See, has and hasn't he. So has, we have used has. As this is positive, we used its negative form. Clear? And let's see one more example. And you haven't completed the work. What kind of sentence this is? A negative sentence. So for this, and the question tag should be a positive one. The positive one, we have used the same helping verb, have and have. So here it is a negative one, so we used it in a positive one. So haven't should be used as a question tag as have you. Clear? So why we used you is subject, the same subject should be used. Clear? And next go to the next slide, and here we see have forms plus had. So what is this is basically, so has or have or had, these are the have forms what we are using. So with have forms again we can use had. So these have forms are helping verbs, and this had is main verb, which is written in V3, which is past participle form of the verb. So when we see some kind of sentences like he has had his breakfast, then what we feel in error detection questions is this might be wrong. How can two helping verbs, same helping verbs come together? So has had. So there is some error here. We'll mark it as an error. But this is correct statement. So he has had, which means this has is telling you the helping verb has, which is perfect tense, and this had is about main verb, about action of the verb, which means he has just completed his breakfast. So this had is telling you the main verb, which means having the breakfast, and this has is telling you about the perfect tense, present perfect tense. Are you clear? So but you should remember that the second had, which is used as main verb, should be V3 form, because the helping verb is already have forms, so the main verb should be V3, so that is had. Hope you are clear with this. Even if you are not clear, you just pause the video, just go back to rewind the video, and again you can listen. Okay, that is why I'm not repeating, so that your time will not be wasted. If you guys will understand for the first time when I say, so for them it should not be a repetition, should not be wasting their time. So if someone has doubt, just pause the video, just rewind the video, you can again watch it. That facility we have in the technology, right? So we'll see some memory based error detection questions. So in the first question, what is the first question is, in Siena guessing word on the Dickens study, and no sooner had he finishing it than he headed south to Naples. See, basically this is kind of question asked in SBI prelims level exam. So what here, see, because nowhere we have seen any other have forms, only had we have seen here, right? That is why I have underlined this. We are in the topic where we are discussing about have forms, and we have seen only one have form, which is had. And then we are seeing that had he finishing it. So basically simply you can say that after using have form, the main verb should be V3 form simply, which is finished. So your answer should be finished. So there is some error in part B of the sentence. Then what is had he finishing it? So that you might be getting a doubt. This is inversion thing, inversion principle. What we say, the helping verb will be written before the subject. There are different situations where we write the helping verb before the subject. One is question form, we have already seen. One is if conditions, where we use it. So there are different inversion laws where we use the inversion, which is helping verb used before the main verb. We will be discussing all the inversion things when we use inversion in a separate video. As of now, what you'll have to know is, see, even in inversion, when that helping verb is used before the subject, the main verb should be V3. So had he finished it, which means if he had finished. So that is condition statement. Inversion is also used to say the condition. Had he finishing is wrong, had he finished it. So that is the first question which was asked in SBI prelims level exam. The second question, not knowing the language and had no friends in the country, he found it impossible to get job. So this was the question asked, and he has highlighted had no. He had made it bold, and then he had given some options like has no, having no, with having not, and with having. So now, like had is being used, so that is why we are discussing here in this particular topic. So what he has said is not knowing the language, and so this and should help you a lot. This is a conjunction, and conjunction joins two words, two sentences, or two phrases. So when it is joining two different parts of a sentence, so those should be in the same tense. So here when it is knowing, even here it should be having. So same tense should be used, not knowing the language and having no friends. So this will be your correct answer. You understand this? So when a conjunction is used, both should be in the same tense. So when here he used not knowing and then he has made this bold, this cannot be in had again. Okay, clear about this? So here had is being used not as a helping verb but as a main verb. So how to use have forms as main verbs, you will have to see the previous video, which is part 3 of helping verbs. So let's go to the next memory based question, which is see, this is each of them has to understand, see, has to understand their responsibility. Very, very nice question. See, why? Because why I said this as a beautiful and nice question is because see, them and has they put together and they try to confuse us, and what we feel is each of them have. So there is some error here, and we'll mark this as an error in exam. So we have made a mistake there. So why I am telling you that this is a mistake is because we are not talking about them here, but we are talking about each. So this is basically a subject verb agreement thing. So each one of them, so each of them, which means every one of them. So we are talking about individual one person, so has is absolutely correct. And if you can find there is some other error here, each of them has to understand his responsibility. So even the pronouns what we use should be according to this, and it should be his, not their. You understand this? He tried to confuse us, keeping this plural one and a singular one together here. Let's go to the next question. We are proud to announce that every one of us have. So now again, us have. So this is how he asked. All these are memory based questions. So you should always practice with memory based questions because you come to know how they'll ask questions. See here what he did is us and have, which is a plural, and plural what we feel is correct and we'll go with no error. But again same thing, what we'll have to see is it is not about us and have, it's about everyone. So singular, and then we have to use it has. Here has is correct, only error we have is this, and here it is not have but has. And then we'll go to the next question. Many a student have passed the IIT examination. Can anyone tell answer to this? If you can, it's very good. If you can't, now you'll be able to do. See, many a student, many a is a phrase which means about a single. A always, that article always says about a singular one. So many a student, which should be followed by has but not have. Remember this. So next question is, science has given us a lot, yet life is becoming more and more painful. So science is a singular, so has is correct. Are you clear with this? So there is no error in this. So mostly what we have seen in the previous slide and this slide is, see, mostly everything is asked on helping verbs like has, but with subject verb agreement. So even here subject verb agreement. So basically how they are asking is, most of the error detection questions on have forms helping verbs would be asked on, see, one is subject verb agreement. So you'll have to check what is a subject, whether it is a singular subject or a plural subject, and verb which has or have what we are using should be according to that subject. So most of the questions what you can find errors is on your subject verb agreement, and then past participle form of verb should be used after have forms. So after have form always there should be v3. Sometimes what he'll be doing is he'll be just inversing that, like helping verb will be used before the subject, and he'll confuse you, the main verb will not be in v3 form. We have seen that question. And then two have forms, one as a helping verb and the other as a main verb, but still they are correct until and unless that main verb should be a v3 one. Clear till here? This is what we have seen, no? We have seen few questions, and these kind of questions will be repeated. Most important thing you should know is the subject verb agreement, when to use has, when to use have, when to use had, then v3 after have forms. And when you get two different have forms like has had, have had, or have had, all three are correct. But had have is wrong, because the main verb should be a v3. When helping verbs have forms are used as helping verbs, main verbs always will be past participle, so the main verb should be had. Hope you are clear with this, and thank you for watching this video, and I hope you are very clear with have forms after watching part 3 and part 4. See, in part 1 and 2 of helping verbs we discussed do forms of verbs, when to use do, when to use does, and when to use did. In 3 and 4 we used have forms, when to use has, have, and had, and then how to write a question, how to write a negation, and then a negative question, a question tags. So everything we have discussed, and we have seen few memory based questions, error detection questions, how they can ask you errors. Okay, hope you are very clear with this video. If you are not, please watch again, and still if you have doubts you can comment below and you can let us know so that I can answer your question. So thank you for watching. Take care.